Tyler, how do you say your last name?
It's pronounced Mo Session.
No session.
Yep, the V is silent there.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Canada National Series in Mont-Tremblant, Quebec, Canada. This is going to be race number 1 of 3 of the Canada National Series. Today we're going to be watching the Pro Championship heat of the males and females take off for the Super. I'm joined by my co-host Tyler Musacchio. And Tyler, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm well, Joe. Thanks for having us here. Looking forward to this race. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a lot coming up, different things to talk about as we lead into the race. Um, First and foremost, like I mentioned before, we have the Canada National Series. Um, with that, we have 3 races in the series structure. The most points going through these races here on your screen now. June 16th, that's today. We've got the Mont-Tremblant Super. July 21st, the Red Deer Sprint, and then finishing things off on August 24th with the Kelowna Beast. Everything leads off to the Pan Am Champs, and that is September 13th and 14th. Looking at the
That's
U.S.
in Seattle. Yep.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's in Seattle. That's right. The National Series looks like this. 2024, we already know how February went, May. Now we've got the Utah Beast coming up in July. You already saw everything for the Canada National Series and then the Mexican National Series, which is wrapping up on June 22nd, actually, with their spread.
Yeah. So I mean, busy summer though for sure for these athletes, especially doing all these series and then all that travel and then heading right out to Seattle and then I believe culminating in Abu Dhabi again for the World Championship as well, which is the big bucks. So speaking
Yeah,
of big
absolutely.
bucks, yeah. Yep. Yep. And just to be clear for everyone watching live right now, the race took place yesterday morning. So we're coming to you post race here on a Monday evening, but this race was Sunday morning here for these guys. And now, Joe, speaking of big bucks, there we're talking about some money, and there's actually some money involved in these races. We're going to want to break that down here. For the overall series in these races, we're going to have
Mhm.
first place at $5,000, second place at $2,500, and third place at $1,000. So we've got some really good athletes going after some money today.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of those athletes, looking today on the men's side, we have a couple different athletes to keep our eyes out for. Brendan Neely, one of them. He actually has 8 all-time podiums, none this year yet, so he'll be searching for his first. Mikhail Gur, how do you pronounce his last name? You're
Maybe,
familiar with him, right?
give me Girilio.
Girilio, right.
Yep.
He'll be out there. Samuel Hebert and Victor Fuenmayer.
Yeah.
Hebert, right.
Yeah, yeah,
Excuse
yeah,
me,
yeah.
Samuel Hebert.
Yep, yeah. I know Sam well, and his last name is probably one of the most fun to pronounce. I believe it's A Bear. It's kind of like almost like a black bear, but A Bear is a good way to phonetically pronounce that. So, yeah, really looking forward to seeing him race. He's the most decorated athlete on the men's side anyway, with 20 podiums. You may have seen him at tons of races. He does often come down to the U.S. as well for our U.S. based athletes. Also, just super friendly guys. So definitely someone who's always usually hanging around, whether he makes podium or not, and is you'll see him cheering in the festival area after he finishes up his race. So definitely a really good guy for our community for sure. So. But yeah, it's gonna be a great race here. And then kind of switching gears over to the women's side, the top dog I should say we have is going to be Lisa Musacchio. She has 21 all time podiums, including one this year, and recently coming off 4th at Big Bear U.S. National Series. So Lisa here really getting after it in terms of the travel and getting herself out to a lot of big races. We're also going to have Susan Snitynsky as well, Carolyn Johnson, and Tatiana Bishop will be out there for the women. Yeah, what are you looking forward to most on the women's side of the race?
Well, we have several ladies out there that have some podiums in 2024. Lisa, you had already mentioned. Did you mention Carolyn Johnson She's going to be out
Uh,
there. She has a podium this year also. Or no, I'm sorry, not. I'm mistaken on my list here. She's got 4 all time. So she is one of the stronger athletes. If she makes it out onto the starting line, we're going to see shortly if she does. I had her to be there, so I like many of our viewers may not have seen anything from yesterday. If you stayed off the social medias, tried to avoid everything, so we can view this fresh and live, just like anybody who might be joining us tonight.
yeah, exactly. Right. Hopefully give some good, genuine surprise reactions if something crazy takes place here today. So if you already have
Yeah,
the spoilers there, excuse us for maybe not not being up to speed because we kind of that was intentional.
yeah, absolutely. And we've got the course map we're going to go over here shortly. The obstacles, we can get to the weather. From my understanding, it was an absolutely beautiful day when things kicked off. It was a little bit wet first thing in the morning, but then things dried out, and I think the weather finished somewhere around 60, 65 degrees Fahrenheit. So sounds like it was perfect for a race.
Yeah, probably one of the best weathers you're going to get, especially in a Spartan race where we all know that the race goes on regardless of what happens there, right? Like if anybody raced Bethel recently out of New York, you'll know it downpoured on Sunday morning, and the athletes had to just run through that. So definitely a blessing when you're an athlete, you can get some good weather.
Yeah, have you raced any of the athletes or been head to head with any of the athletes that you see on our start list for today?
Yeah, actually, Brendan Neely
Are you
actually
familiar?
is he actually raced in the age group category in the national series. I believe it was definitely for sure 2 years ago, maybe even last year. Now he's moved up to the elite category, obviously for good reason, given he has 8 elite podiums in his career so far. But he races in my age group, so definitely a foe there for me for sure. And then also now that the genders are combined generally on these races as well when the gun goes off. Lisa Musacchio has been somebody who has usually been leading a lot of the women's races here locally for me in the Northeast, and she's been someone I've also had to try to fight off if I want to beat all the women for lack of better words. And she's tough, right? She'll often end up
Yeah.
in the top 10 overall, not male and female in those Northeast races. So she'll be, like I said, one to watch for sure. And coming through, especially with all the experience she has with, like I said, 21 all-time podiums, which is the most amongst any athlete on our list.
Oh, yeah, and actually touching on that, you touching on the we have the pro championship heat, but then also, and you have to qualify to get into those spots. That's with a podium here in 2024 or a top 15 in the elite category from 2023. The elite kind of dropped this year. So we're keeping the age group when it comes to the podiums. We'll kick things off with the elite, and then anybody who doesn't finish in the top 3 kicks down into that age group podium. So, they wanted to keep that around and recognize everybody throughout, all age groups there.
Right. Right, yeah, and you may have remembered that last year at every race we had an elite category and an age group category, and now this year at any race it's going to be all combined, with the exception to a series race. So series races are still going to have elite and age group separated, so we'll only see elite folks here. But in order to even just get on the start line for the elite race in a national series event, you have to, like Joe was mentioning, finish in the top 3 in a overall in a competitive category this year, or top 15 of the elite heat last year. So definitely,
Right.
definitely some very fast athletes. Even the ones we're not mentioning, they worked hard to be here, and they're well deserved to do so.
For sure. Well, I think we're going to head over to the start line. The guys are ready to rock and roll.
Yep. There we go. Yep, they're staying the chance here.
Stand and fight for today is your day. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right here, right now, in your hometown of Montreal. Who am I?
I'm Spartan!
Who am I?
I'm Spartan!
Even louder. Who am I?
I'm Spartan!
Aru,
Aru!
Aru, Aru, go!
some great passion out of them there. And that's the man kind of fumbling with his watch there. That'd be Samuel Hebert right there. Yep.
There you go. And you got your race
And you'll,
conditions on the screen. 43 degrees Fahrenheit at the time of the start of the race. Feels like 50, so it feels a little warmer. The sun is out, shining, not a lot of clouds up there.
we got 99% humidity.
Yeah, that's going to feel good later on in the race for sure.
Right, most
Everything's
certainly.
probably pretty wet in the shade. Like we were talking about, from my understanding, the things are probably pretty wet, here at the beginning, but as the sun comes out. There we go. We lost sound for just a moment there. As sun comes out, I'm sure all the obstacles are going to dry up a bit. We're going to talk a little bit about the course map and the obstacles. While these racers are working their way through the first part of our course.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, perfect. So here we have a zoomed in key there. So you'll see what number obstacle we have. Of course, water station's important as well. So that way everyone's aware as well. We had a trifecta weekend here. So a lot of course to talk about here, but starting things off, Joe, can you see what that first obstacle was? Actually,
Yeah. I got all the obstacles. So first three obstacles are, pretty basic as far as just kind of getting over, getting under. They got the hurdles at number 1, barbed wire crawl. The monkey bars will be the first, truly failable task that the athletes are going to come across. If there's moisture on the bars, that could pose. I mean, you don't expect too many people to slip off, but hey, anything's possible there. After the monkey bars, it's pretty smooth. Again, over the walls, 4-foot walls, 7-foot wall. Then they hit Olympus. Once again, moisture could pose on Olympus. From Olympus, stairway to Sparta, the box, twister, bender. This is where you're going to start to get into a lot more grippy things, right? You got twister, bender, sandbag.
Maybe we can even slow down a little bit too and talk about what each of these obstacles are for maybe some listeners who might be a little bit newer. To some, maybe they're even looking in the future here to see what they might be tackling if they're doing a super of their own. So Olympus obviously the other obstacles there are pretty straightforward. They're up to Olympus, but Olympus is essentially a plywood angled board you have to navigate across using holes and rock grips and chains. You could use as many or as few there as needed. And then, of course, Stairway to Sparta is another tricky one, especially for our shorter athletes who have to jump up to a set of rock grips to then navigate up and over a similar type of Olympus piece there. And then we also have the box too, another one where if you height really can come into an advantage there, where you're using a rope to climb up and over a box that's probably about 7 feet or so in height. So you really need to have a really, really good pull strength to get up and over the top of that box and then down the other side and keep moving.
Yeah, after the box is twister, which is essentially monkey bars. It's handles. As you're going, you're gonna have a rotating grip. They're offset by a few inches, so as you go, they'll rotate into your path or away from your path if you're going the wrong way. If you've never touched those before, which most of these athletes we expect they have, they won't have any issue with that. But if you haven't done it before, it could be a little bit tough. After that is bender. Bender, now that's it's been a while. That's the rotating monkey bars, correct? So almost like an egg beater?
Not quite. So that would be beater, which actually I don't believe is on our. Yep, it has very similar names. Not even on our course map. It's actually surprising here, but bender is going to be some angled bars going this way here, and you'll have to navigate the underside of that. And you'll see athletes trying to get their feet up as soon as possible on that one, and then they'll be climbing up and over the top. And it's pretty scary as well up there if you've never done it before too. About 10 to 12 feet high in the air. So definitely going to be a challenge for some of our newer athletes.
Yeah, and then we'll probably catch some separation at the sandbag carry. That's where sometimes either the better runners might get held up by the weight of the sandbags if it's a double sandbag. I'm not quite sure just yet, so we'll see. So that usually causes some separation. After that, they have the 6-foot wall. The multi-rig usually has different types of grips along the way. On a super, you'll see multiple different things, right? Now, with a sprint, you usually see rings kind of the whole way through, kind of a speedier thing. Here, you might see a pipe, a few rings, and a rope or two, right?
That's right. Yeah. Generally in a super, we're going to see rings and a bar and then followed by more rings. So definitely a little bit more challenging than just your standard ring multi-rig there. And also too, some of these obstacles too, you'll see on our course map, some have red, blue, green, and purple dots. As I was mentioning, this is a trifecta weekend that also included an ultra race. So anything from 5 kilometers all the way up to 50 kilometers. Again, we're talking about the race that was in the the blue dots there, which be our super 10K. But yeah, so you'll notice a lot of these obstacles here are all with those red dots there. So that means they're going to probably come a good bit later in the race, starting with sandbag carry. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see on our course map here. You see that it's about 4K. It's about 8K into the super already. We're talking about obstacles, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 here. With obstacle 21 being an Atlas carry, which is a ball that weighs 70 pounds for the ladies, 100 for the men, and they have to carry it across just a small distance there, about 10 meters or so and back, and then put it down and keep moving. But the obstacles are a lot of fun as well. But also, let's talk about some of this elevation too we have here, right? Because I'm getting word we got some athletes here, so we're going to switch back over to these athletes here, and we got a group of 3 guys here running together. Definitely do see Samuel Hebert in the middle there. Like I was mentioning in the pre-show, a very familiar face, and they seem to be working together here.
Yeah, we got a clearer view probably as they come in here. I'm going to get a little glare from the sun, so we may not get just their.
They're all conveniently shirtless, wearing black shorts, which does not help us at all either.
All right, blank canvas.
Yep.
Right, so that's Hebert there, just falling back, right? On the left side of the screen.
Yeah, Hebert falling back a bit there. He looks like he's hurting already a little bit. Maybe it could be just the angle there, but it looks like now they're going through an uphill barbed wire crawl, which is our second obstacle. So pretty nasty obstacle too. But here you can see a lot of separation come through. You even see the gentleman on the far left of our screen there who's starting to seem to pull away and getting out of there quickly first using a variety of different techniques. So smart there for sure.
Yeah. Try not to stay dizzy. Keep focused where you're going. That's usually the goal when you're getting through this. And it was uphill for just a bit. Now it looks pretty smooth, flattened out a bit there.
Yeah, but they entered the obstacle together. And just look at the lead we got there. But it rolls right into the next obstacle, which appears to be monkey bars. He's going to wipe off there, make sure he doesn't make any mistakes here. So this is pretty rare, honestly, seeing obstacles this close together. Very honestly, aside from a gauntlet, very, very rare. So definitely pretty cool to see for sure.
Yeah, and getting all dirty going through, you got to be careful getting those hands muddy or anything before you get to those monkey bars. But it looks like they had no issue. There's somebody else, a few others now. Okay, yeah, so there's not too much separation.
Yeah, I believe this athlete here in the green is going to be Victor there. Victor Fuminaire.
Fuinmayer. Yeah,
Fuinmayer. All right. Yep. So he gets through pretty quickly and easily there. And from there, you'll notice a lot more hesitation, even out of this gentleman here in 5th place and 6th place there, respectively. So you'll notice some gap really starting to form already.
Yeah, and Fuinmayer, as you mentioned, already through, and he actually has won podium this year. So somebody to keep an eye on as this race moves along. More guys coming through. Again, only 10 minutes into this this
failure
super
here, possibly. Yeah, he's looking for the penalty loop. This gentleman here who's just kind of running around.
They actually sent off the women at the same time.
I hope so.
They're
So
asking about who was sent off if they went off with the ladies together.
yeah, so we did. I did see a few female athletes as well at the very start of the race. So either they haven't quite gotten here yet. Oh, yep. Oh, I do see a woman actually crossing the barbed wire here. It looks like two women side by side. So we'll try to get some IDs on them. Oh, thank you for that zoom.
You got two. Looks like
Actually,
maybe.
Oh, yeah, you saw two ponytails. We have one male, one female. That's all right. She's going with the army crawl, a little bit hands and knees. He's going with the roll technique. So obviously, as you can see, two different ways, a couple different ways to get through, as you mentioned earlier.
I actually personally raced this athlete here in the blue at the New Jersey Super about a month and a half ago. I actually talked to him mid race, but actually forget his name if I'm being completely honest. Unfortunately, I believe he's from Canada here. He speaks French, so it was a little hard to communicate with. And I think both these athletes are actually friends. They kind of race together there, so I'm unsure of the names at the moment though. But we'll see how they do.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. That's Beatrice Moyen-Sylvestre. The
Yes.
one that you were just talking about on the left side of the screen. She's just wrapping up on the monkey bars. And unfortunately, I don't have the gentleman's name. Maybe we'll get it. But as you mentioned, they seem like buds. They gave each other dap as they just came through that first obstacle.
Yep. And then we're getting reports that this woman here in the light blue is Lisa, who again, as I mentioned in the pre-show, is someone who I've gotten a race against quite often. Definitely a really strong athlete who often finishes top 10 overall, regardless of gender. So she'll be one to look out for. Beatrice's lead is nowhere near safe this early in the race.
Yeah, you said earlier she finished fourth at Big Bear. She's got 21 all-time podiums, one of the most decorated out there. Only one this year, but it's only early in the year, so today could be another.
Oh, we had third place here, fail the monkey bars, and it seems to be unclear where that penalty loop is located, so definitely a little confusion there. But so that way everyone else is caught up to speed as well, because if you're familiar with the Spartan brand whatsoever, you'll know that the burpees have always been a staple of Spartan races for many, many years. That actually went away, I believe, in 2022. Fully went away there, so now you won't see any of our elite athletes doing burpees. Instead, you'll see them doing a penalty loop of some sorts, which means just an extra little bit of running section to make up for the fact that they've failed an obstacle. Sometimes you might see them have to crawl in those sections or carry kettlebells, but it seems like these monkey bar ones is just a straight up run.
Yeah, I think that's a much better way of handling this type of elite type of race. I mean, even for the other categories, there's so much variation in a burpee, but a penalty loop is a penalty loop, and everybody's got to handle it the same,
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of issues with the officiating of burpees for sure. So I'm glad to see that's kind of past us now. Here we have another athlete here who actually just passed into third place because the other woman there previously failed the monkey bars. And she may not even know it. I believe that third place woman is actually Margaret Labovic, but unsure who this one is here. We'll hopefully get an ID on her soon, but she looks strong.
Yeah, she looks good. Okay, we're getting reports that Susan Snitynsky. And we just left her screen. Now we're over back at the guys. They're heading over the overwalls. This is the second set of overwalls after the monkey bars. This is a 7-foot wall, obstacle number 5, as you can see there on your screen.
Yeah, and back on Susan too. There, she's also one of the most decorated athletes we have in our field here. 1 podium this year, 12 in her career. So definitely no one to someone to keep an eye out on for sure. Here we have Samuel making his way over that wall. He's probably about 20 seconds or so behind the other 2 gentlemen that are in front of him. So decent separation, but has a lot of time still to get back into it.
Nice job.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to get a view to see. I know there's a big climb coming up. Like you said, there's a ton of vert, about 2,700 feet of climbing over this entire super.
Yeah. It's a lot
But
for
I
a
know a lot
10K
of
race,
that.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, they're I mean, I think they got 50%, 50 degrees rather, climb coming at the beginning here. On the average throughout the whole thing, I believe is about 12, but I think it gets nasty here early.
Yeah, most certainly does, right? Like we mentioned before, this is a very popular ski slope we're looking at here in Quebec. It's going to be akin to your New Jerseys, your Palmertons, right? We won't have the altitude that you might deal with at like a Utah or a Big Bear, but we're going to definitely have some really, really intense climbing.
Yeah, that'll happen right around 3K. Now that I got it up on my
Yeah, man.
screen there.
Yeah, these athletes looking real strong here early. Got about this gentleman here looks to be about in eighth place or so. I would have to say for the men, pretty sizable gap, but definitely a lot of athletes still fighting for every position here, right? Because as we mentioned before, this is a series race, so every position counts, right? So I believe that up to the top 20 are gonna score here. Not only that, but the top three it's separated by 2 points. Whereas then from there on, from fourth down, it's going to be 1 point in the series separating. So that podium is going to definitely distinguish themselves, especially considering this race here is the first one in the Canadian race.
Yeah, there's 3 total races for this Canadian. Oh, here we go. We got a little split popping up on the screen. So
Yep.
let's talk about that
Nice.
for a minute.
Yeah, okay, yep. So we got Mikhail Girillo in first place, so he's working tightly with Brandon Neely in second there. And then we have Samuel Hebert, like I mentioned, about 30 seconds behind the Girillo and Neely. Then the aforementioned in the green there was Victor Funmeyer, who's about a minute back. And then number 5 is going to be Matthew McLean, who I don't have too much familiarity with at the moment, but he's 15 minutes in, running a great race.
Yeah, that's solid top 5. Matthew McLean, he's got him. He's 4-time podium winner in Spartan. None this year yet, but sitting top 5. Still plenty of race ahead. So hopefully we can get the splits on the ladies. Yeah, and it may look like she's going slow here on your screen, but this is a climb the whole way. As I mentioned, around 3K, it gets extreme, but right now it's steady basically for the first 3.5K of this race. So
Yes, sir.
steady, 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 and then it gets real nasty. Here shortly, we're probably just a few minutes away from them hitting that main climb.
All right. Yep. So we have Beatrice here going over the wall here. And Beatrice is an incredible runner, right? Like I said, I raced with her in New Jersey. She lost her shoe in the mud, so I passed her, and then she proceeded to pass me again after finding the said shoe. So definitely, like I said, no joke with running there. And then here we have Lisa Musacchio going over the wall there, about 20 seconds behind Beatrice. So it's going to be a tight race there between those two ladies for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, now when you ran with them in Jersey, do you start at the same time also still? And that's
Yep.
just for the 2024, right?
Yes, so
No.
2024, yeah, what they do actually is pace groups for 2024. So you put in your finish time if you're expecting to make top 10 or top 20 usually, you're heading out with that first group, whether you're male or female, and then you just kind of go about your race there. So generally, though, the people who are real threats to win are going to be in that first pace group, with those other pace groups being folks who are competing for their age group podiums.
Right. Okay, yeah, that's right. I did run the Palm Beach Sprint this year, now that I think about it, and that is how we kick things off. But yeah, last year, whenever there was a separation of 15 minutes between the elite males and the elite females, and I was getting passed anyways. Even back then, starting next to everybody, I would have no chance whatsoever.
Yeah.
So here they are,
If
still
you're new to
climbing. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, if you're new to spectating a Spartan race, or really any running race, honestly, like you'll look at any elite marathoning, it looks very unimpressive. people running. But let me tell you, like these people are working hard. It's real tough to be going up at that grade at that that pace, right? Just get out there and you'll really see what we're talking about. But here comes Susan here, still hanging on in third place, getting over this wall, but definitely a pretty sizable gap between Lisa and Beatrice to Susan, about 2 minutes there already separating those three. But she'll be fighting as hard as she can for that third place podium because this appears to be Margot who had notably failed the monkey bars. Margaret, sorry, notably failed the monkey bars, who is right on back on Susan's tail. So an impressive runner for sure.
Yeah, she must be moving. I wonder how long that penalty loop was. She must be quite the runner, and she must have some experience climbing, because she did close that gap pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And the penalty loop, the distance is very, very drastically, very often, right? You might have a 100-meter penalty loop, a 400-meter penalty loop. It's really based on what the race directors can put together with the course. But nonetheless, though, failing an obstacle is a big detriment, and if you can close a gap that quickly, it's impressive for sure.
Yeah, and just to touch on while we're watching the climb here, as you said, we got 3 races that we're looking forward to in the Canada Series. This is the Super Sprint coming up next, and then it wraps things up for the third race as a beast. So all different levels of races. So it gives maybe somebody who has better skills with the longer races an opportunity to climb the leaderboard, close some of the gaps maybe for the other people who may be sprinters, and then of course this race is right down the middle, but splitting the two. So it'll be interesting to see how the series shakes out.
Yeah, for sure. These races are pretty tight, right? They're 8 weeks apart for 3 races. So not only that, but it's a little challenging as well, given that the Super here on a mountain course. Then we have Red Deer, which I believe is a rather flat course, and then Kelowna, which is kind of more in your middle. But that one is of course the beast. So you'll see here, like we mentioned before, it's really no joke. These mountains. You'll see some of these athletes at this point, 22 minutes into the race, start to kind of go back and forth between power hiking and jogging there, or what looks like jogging, but like I said, it's hard running for sure. And some of our wider shots too tend to do it justice.
Yeah, this grade. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that we weren't getting that view of that grade. Now look, like they're almost going straight up. It looks like they're going to hang left here and keep climbing, but as I mentioned, they must be right around the 3K mark now as they head up this climb. And they're already 23 minutes. Now we got the ladies, the splits up on the screen. From the 7-foot wall, Beatrice Moyen-Sylvestre was leading the pack. Lisa Musacchio was only 16 seconds behind her. And then Susan Snitynsky is where the separation starts. She's about 2 minutes behind. We don't have a time on Margaret. And then Nomi Bouchard, just about 4 minutes off of the leader. So not a ton of time, still plenty of time to catch up. This climb here, I think, is really going to be where the separation can make or break it. From here, though, they will have downhill a little bit before climbing again.
Yeah, as we mentioned, we don't have a split on Margaret. There's some timing issues with Spartan, it seemed like. But however, you'll see here that this is Susan and Margaret on your screen right now. So obviously, essentially no time, as it looks like Margaret is currently making a pass on Susan for that third spot.
Yes, she is. Looks like things flattened out just for a moment here. But if you can see on the far side of the screen there, it looks like they're going to head back up again.
Yeah, for sure. These kind of races, generally, you're going to definitely really eat up those flats. It's going to be delicious, but it's going to go right back up for sure. There's not going to be much break from the climbing when it comes to a mountain race as intense as this one.
Yeah, and actually, this is it then. So they're about 3.5 kilometers into the race. They're heading down now. That means they're going to be coming. I'm going to check the map and see what we got coming up here. As far as obstacles, some heavy breathing from that climbing for sure.
Yeah, and actually the heavy breathing too, Joe, is cool. Yeah, actually getting some reports here that we may have our men getting through some of the obstacles we were talking about earlier in the pre-show, such as Twister and some of the ones we were explaining in more detail. Olympus looks like we had some technical issues getting up there. Speaking of technical issues, there really it's the rabbits, right? You'll notice here Joe mentioned earlier some heavy breathing. That might be from our rabbit who is running with a camera trying to keep up with these incredible athletes. So, shout out to those rabbits for holding a camera and running these technical trails with some top level runners. And yeah, just it's an incredibly difficult job. I've done it before. We have some great athletes who have volunteered their time to do it, and this show would not go on without them. So much appreciated.
Speaking of which, thank you also to all of the OCR Report members for making the live stream possible. For less than $5 a month, you can help us live stream these races just like this every single week. And you can go to patreon.com/the OCR Report to become a member today.
Yes, absolutely. We really appreciate any support we can get to help grow our sport. Right, this is really why we're doing what we're doing here. Bring more exposure to the sport, keep it going, and all that good stuff. So, back to the race here. You'll notice, like I mentioned before, these athletes did not get a long break from the climbing. They're right back to it, and this time, as the rabbit here pointed out, very technical. Now we're getting into the woodsy sections there. So. Certainly a slog, to say the least.
Yeah, and they should be coming up on that. Yeah, this is the second climb to. So they did the first one, and this is another nasty. One of the grades was 49%. I think on average over the whole course it was about 12% total. But if that's the case, they should be almost 4K in. They should be coming up to Olympus.
Yep. And as a reminder, this race here is a 10K super. So, but by no means are they halfway through time wise. They're probably not going to get halfway through time wise until about the 6 to 7K mark, just because of the number of obstacles, officially known as the gauntlet, that's in the race. So.
Yeah, this is a tough one. This is a climb right here that you're catching on the view. Straight up.
Yeah. Yep. Most certainly, a lot of rocks, roots, things like that. They got to navigate. Probably a lot of bushwhacking as well. So we appreciate the camera here getting a lot of detail for us.
Absolutely. And while you're watching, be sure to hit that subscribe button. The OCR Report on YouTube is the only place that you can watch these live streams all year long, so be sure to subscribe now. We can see them climbing there off in the distance. That's all right, though. We're going to get caught up here shortly. We're gonna see.
Most certainly will, for sure. But yeah, any Joe, any big takeaways so far for this race for you here?
You got to have the legs at the beginning. Coming out hot isn't going to serve you well. That's for sure. Because just this piece right here, you're going to be on all fours potentially to get up to the top.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, like we said, this is a super here. We'd have to anticipate probably something around the hour 15 mark here, probably for the men coming through, maybe hour 20, and probably about the hour 30, hour 40 mark here for the ladies. So we're still about 40% of the way through the race time wise. So definitely still a lot more race to go. So definitely got to bide your time and get to that, get through that finish.
Okay, yeah, we got the age groups on your screen now. We're about
Oh, thanks.
They're just going over that 7-foot wall.
Yep.
We're back with our
Generally
rabbit.
speaking, with the
Athletics.
yep. Generally speaking, with the age group athletes, you'll notice here they start about 15 minutes after the elites usually. So they're about 15 minutes into their race. Generally a little bit behind the elites time wise, but you'll see looks like some of our leading men in what appears to be, I believe, it's the 14 to 29 category. But you'll notice a lot more walking, out of these athletes here. Just the experience may not quite be there yet. So if we notice those ladies who are running, who appear to be running slow, you'll notice that these people are definitely showing why they appear to be a little slower.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll get some newer people out there. Just there's a lot of separation in this sport. When I started racing, I had this false sense of, and maybe, I don't know, how you felt when you first started. I saw people racing, like you said, you see them walking. You're like, why are they walking? Shouldn't be walking, but then you get out there, you realize, oh my goodness, especially I'm in South Florida. So if I was up here in Canada, I would be done for. That's another reason I told you I don't do these quite as often. I do a little bit more of the decafit these days, but that's what you're probably seeing here is either inexperience or just fitness level being at a different spot, but plenty of room to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. So kudos to these athletes for coming out here for the series race too, right? Because the series races are generally better competition than even your local ones. But yeah, no, so I'm blessed to live in the Northeast here, and we get a lot of mountains, but they never get easier, right? They really take your fitness and really put you on blast pretty quickly if you're not ready.
For sure. So we're still watching some of the age groups come through. Let's see, we got... Also, for the latest in obstacle course racing news, race results, and live race coverage, be sure to follow the OCR Report on Instagram. You will find the full rate. That's one of the somebody giving a little words of encouragement, sounds of encouragement. But anyways, yeah, be sure to follow the OCR Report at the OCR Report on Instagram today, and you can get all the results.
Shout out what they do too. Yeah, if you ever know, one thing that's awesome too. Like I mentioned, I raced at the Bethel race, which is like at a local race in Woodstock Village in New York, and they managed to give the top 10. Usually do all the age groups as well on a slide, so it's really really impressive what they're able to do. And shout out every athlete. No race is too small for big or too small for the OCR Report, which is great to see everyone getting some coverage and some shout outs for great performances.
Absolutely.
Joe, I think
always nice
this
to
woman,
see your name out there.
Of course. I think this woman here was our fifth place woman. Joe, do you remember her name? I lost it off the top of my head. I think it was Noemi. Yeah. I believe it was Noemi Bouchard.
Mm-hmm.
Noemi. Yep. Cool. Yep. So she's still making her way up the climb. Yep. There she is again. So she is currently fifth place right now.
A gentleman up by her as well. So probably sitting somewhere around the top 10.
Yeah, very very possibly, right? Yeah, very could be somewhere in that top 10 to 15 range. Unsure as to where maybe that middle pack men have shaken up, but still some valuable series points on the line for even, like I said, up to the top 20. So if you are pursuing this series, it is important to stay in that top 20 so that way you can score at each one of these races.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure with travel and stuff, I mean, not everybody's going to make all three. So you want to get as many points as humanly possible in the 1, 2, or 3 races. It could come down to even having just one race and happen to finish in 6th or 7th place versus somebody who did 2 and finished 19th twice, So it's really going to speak because that starting line didn't look super packed.
Yeah, yeah, and not for nothing too as well. Maybe a bad weekend as well, given it's Father's Day. So we'll give a belated shout out to all of our dads, our Spartan dads, and dads in our lives out there here. Yeah, no, happy belated Father's Day to anybody watching who might be a dad.
Yeah, that is true. It was on Father's Day, so I'm sure that doesn't help. But there are people out there, and they're getting after it. We're 35 minutes in. Coast is clear on this camera. Trying to watch for somebody to come up. We got this rabbit working hard, killing it out there.
One thing I'd also appreciate too is all that course tape out there, right? Like these crews go out to these venues probably usually 2 weeks ahead of time, and it is just manual, hands-on labor to tape up these courses, especially the ultra distance, right? You're covering, I know it's usually two laps of a beast and then some, but you're covering 15, 16 miles with this, caution tape looking type stuff, so that way our racers are able to focus on their running and not get lost. So. You gotta definitely, give it up for some people behind the scenes. You don't really appreciate it until you just like take a moment to notice it.
Yeah, just watching this right now, I mean, it's just unbelievable the amount of climbing and stuff and scouting. You gotta walk it to scout it, then you gotta walk it to line it, then you gotta bring the obstacles out there, and you gotta build everything, and it's on all different parts of the course. Obviously, they try to keep some of that gauntlet stuff by the start and stop line.
So, getting a report that we have some of our top athletes going through Stairway to Sparta, which, as mentioned before, so it's obstacle 14 on the obstacle list. But what happens is on these races where they're trifecta weekends, we have a couple extra obstacles for the Beast, which is the half marathon, and then the Ultra, which is 50 kilometers, so more than a marathon. And we have some extra obstacles for those athletes. Those athletes raced yesterday. Today we have the Super and then the Open Sprint. So they're going to go right from Obstacle 6 Olympus into Obstacle 14 Stairway to Sparta. So realistically, Obstacle 7 on this course.
Yes, and our rabbit made it to the top, it appears. Quiet on this camera right now, but it sounds like they're getting some cheering going on there. Don't worry, we're going to go back to our rabbit, see what they found at the top of that nasty, nasty hill.
Absolutely, yeah. Looking forward to seeing how it's shaking out here. We know we had Mikhail Jarillo and Brandon Neely, right next to each other. We had Beatrice and Lisa next to each other, and then we had Samuel Hebert in third, not far behind Neely and Jarillo. So, looking to see if there was any shake up in the standings here.
Yeah, and so Stairway to Sparta, as you mentioned, the Stairway to Sparta is coming up. The men should be getting there in just a moment. Stairway to Sparta now just over 6 or just under 6K. So they're just under 6K into this race.
About halfway distance-wise, but probably, like I said, a little less than halfway as far as the actual overall time goes on the course.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're only 38 minutes in. Holy cow. Look at that view, though.
I was just going to say that, Joe. Yeah, the rabbit really giving us a chance to appreciate the view here. And speaking of that, here come our top men who are not enjoying the view. If I had to say that for sure, they are definitely looking beat up from that climb. Even like I said, these are top. No, those might be more age groupers actually. But yeah, no, definitely looking pretty beat up after that tough climb.
I don't know how you guys do this.
Yeah. Okay. Right, so the top guys are actually through Stairway. Yeah. Go ahead, Ty, if you want to ring off how we're looking so far.
Yeah. Absolutely. So as I was mentioning before, we had quite a shakeup here. We had Mikhail Jarillo put about 1 minute and 12 seconds on Brandon Neely, who's in second place right now. Still have Samuel Hebert holding strong in third place, about 40 seconds behind Neely. Then we've got Victor Fumeyer, who's about 4 minutes off the lead, and then Matthew McLean, who's caught up to Victor, who's only 3 seconds behind him. So our tightest race right now is for 4-5, and the other three are really separated at this point.
Yeah, and there's still more climbing to be had before they start heading back down. Once they're about,
You look a lot better condition than I am right
let's
now.
say, once they're 7, not too much longer, they're going to head down and then a small climb. Then they got a lot of downhill, so things will pick up. 8K or so, 7-8K into the race, and we should be catching them as they come back to the bender.
Yep, absolutely. And so here we have, like I said, just a really great shot of one of our elite women going through the climb there. You'll notice on her elbow area too, she has a pro band, which again is earned to get access into this race. So one of our top women here, or like at least in terms of the Canada Racing Series in general. Not sure what place she's in this race, but definitely a proven athlete for sure. Yeah. Getting some reports here. This woman here might be in about 6th or 7th place for the females. Again, about 41 minutes into the course here. Trying to just pace herself through this climb because we have some downhilling, and on a downhill you can really make up some time going through that there. So definitely has some room to go here as she picks up her running stride again and heads into Olympus. So hopefully she can nail this obstacle and perhaps maybe catch some people who might do a penalty loop.
Yeah, we're going to see that now. Now, it looks shady. Personally, if I'm coming up to this, I'm looking on the right side of some of these where the sun is hitting. So hopefully that's the choice that she makes because you can anticipate it. Okay, yeah, I was going to say it's drier for sure.
Yeah. You'll notice her legs are not slipping at all, which is great. And now, so like I mentioned before, she can use however many she wants here. The real strategy, now this athlete's actually doing an awesome job of keeping her feet really high, not letting them dangle, and using the feet as leverage here, working the feet across and then the hands. So it's a tough obstacle. It's long for sure, right? So you can see her starting to tire out just a little bit, really trying to make her moves. Joe, have you done this obstacle? Do you have? Oh, you fail it a lot. Do you have a preferred grip?
So no, I love the holes, and then I just try to quickly get to the next one. If you can, sacrifice your fingers, and sometimes I'll end up with 2 hands inside of one hole to sling myself. But I have literally failed it the last 4 times I've been on it. I always, ever since they put that new paper on it or that new material a few years ago, I do not have the mobility like this gentleman and the young lady we saw go to get your feet up on, because if you can get your feet on there, the grip of your shoes definitely helps. If you put your knees against it, it really starts to rub your knees and hurt your knees. And usually about halfway when your grip's going, your knees are hurting, it's just time to let go. You spent too much time up there, and you got to just go ahead and eat the penalty and get back on the course.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, and those athletes both crushed that obstacle there for sure. But yeah, I'm a hole. I guess I'm a fan of the holes myself for sure. I think they have the best grip and tend to be the less variable as well when it comes to wetness or dew on these kind of obstacles. So, but yeah, no, looks like we're gonna get a beautiful running section right after Olympus here, which again is obstacle 6 on our course. They're going to then skip the part of the Beast and the Ultra, and they're going to go right into the Stairway to Sparta, as you see this gentleman here really opening up his stride on this, what appears to be a bit of a downhill.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at where we are on the map here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like we mentioned too, we were talking about the split timing, right? We had, if I'm remembering correctly, we had Mick Jarillo at about 35 minutes, Brandon Neely about 36, 37 minutes, up to Matt McLean and Victor at about 39 minutes. So at least for the men anyway, they're approximately 9 minutes back of the lead, but still only about 4 minutes back of fifth place. So again, a lot of series points on the line. Some of these guys are probably somewhere in that top 10 range here. So a lot of fighting still to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Every point counts here.
Yep, especially with
Good. We're just
getting
getting
reports. We
reports.
got
Ladies, yep, coming through stairway now. So not too far behind the guys.
yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing. Yep. So again, getting reports, like I said before, that we had some technical issues on the cam for the for that. Here we have Mick Girillo, I believe, on Bender. Like I said, at Stairway, he had about 1 minute and 12 seconds on second place Brandon Neely. And like again, this one here is called Bender, which is obstacle 17. So it's 3 obstacles after the Stairway. There, we had our last split, and it's actually a solid 2K more of running. So with Mick Girillo's experience and running ability, I would not be surprised this is a larger gap than 1 minute 12. But I'll be curious here to see this. Let's see. Actually, this might here be Neely actually himself right here. Yep, I believe this is going to be.
Yeah, I think it is. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it is hard to tell. Like you said, they're all wearing black shorts, black shoes, no shirt. But I think that is Neely.
Yep. So seems to be actually not too far behind. And now, like I said, third place, we should be expecting to see Bear coming through, but again, unsure of how far behind he was. If I got that right, Neely was about 46:20 or so through Bender, so definitely a pretty sizable gap. But again, with how decorated Bear is, it's not over.
No, and there's a lot of downhill coming. And as you said, if you're willing to just go full send down that, you can make up a lot of space.
Yep. Here comes again another gentleman in black shorts, and yep, I did hear "Come on, Sam." So this must be Samuel Bear. Probably about 1 minute and 15 behind Neely. So seems to have made up some ground since the split at Stairway. And yeah, they're just making this obstacle look like child's play. But this is not child's. This is not easy for sure.
No, he just threw himself right over that.
Yeah, just no problem at all. So definitely,
it is kind of scary though. You mentioned people get nervous though doing that. Getting up that high, like kind of getting yourself up over the top of it.
Yeah, you'll see with our open heat, if you ever do an open race, that there's usually a long line at this obstacle because sometimes people get a little bit shell-shocked up at the top trying to get themselves up and over this obstacle. So definitely, but it's the experience and the level of fitness that these folks are displaying that is helping them make that look easier than it is.
There we go. Rabbit putting in work.
I really hope these rabbits are recording on Strava because they deserve all the kudos for the effort they're putting in out there today, for sure.
Thank you again to our OCR Report members for making this live stream possible. For less than $5 a month, you can help us live stream races like this every single week. Go to patreon.com/the OCR Report to become a member today. You can also scan that QR code on your screen.
Yep, absolutely. Definitely blessed to have that technology right at our fingertips. You can you don't have to go to another tab on your computer here while you're watching.
No, please help any way you can. That's what keeps this show going and gets it better and better every single year. We've got 4 cameras, 5 cameras coming to you. Every year we try to add more capabilities. It's hard to setup. You can imagine, in remote areas, some obviously more difficult than others. So it's because of the OCR report members that we're able to do this.
Yeah, not only that, but we also have a lot more races coming to you this year. Joe was mentioning you're a DECA athlete. You got a lot of DECA fit events coming to you. We got a lot of Canada National Series, Mexico National Series, U.S. National Series. So, the folks at OCR report between all those events stay busy. But here, as I was mentioning earlier, is we've got a great race between Victor and Matt McLean here. They were 3 seconds apart at Stairway to Sparta. Looks like it's about the same now, so they've been really battling for that 4 or 5 spot.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, with a race of this distance and knowing that you got climbing and stuff, you just want to keep them in your eye. Just stay close, not let too much distance, and see if you can make a move somewhere later on.
To the left, I goes. Good job.
Valuable points for the top 5, for sure, before the point values start to drop off. So definitely good for him to keep Victor right there.
Yep. All right, and here we got not a great shot, but we got someone here climbing. It looks like it might be one of our top 3 in the shirtless black short gang.
Got a good race going on.
So, yep.
They're close.
This might be Sam, like with his hair. Oh, nope. That's not his hair.
No.
Yep. This is Mick. This is still Mick right here. Yep, Mick, and then you still see. Like I said, we still see Neely in the shot there when it's wider. So definitely not as big of a gap as we had maybe initially speculated at Stairway. Yeah, you see Mick there looking over his shoulder.
Yeah, let's see if they get close. He gets closer. So that's Mick McHale right there.
Yeah, we still believe that's
okay.
Mick.
There you go. Got to keep moving. He's heading into the multi-rig now. That's the 6-foot wall, so he's an obstacle 12. This is the multi-rig, like you said, rings, some pipes, and some rings.
Yeah, and you'll see athletes have to make a choice here between doing it swinging like this, like he's doing here, or sometimes even lock arms can be a little faster, but can take a little bit more energy. So you kind of make a choice. But here, like I said, this team here did an awesome job with the obstacles being so tight together. They got to go boom, boom, obstacle, obstacle, obstacle. So definitely real cool to see the transitions really come into play.
Good job.
Yeah, now they are at the bottom. So they've hit the bottom. They're just about 8K into this 12.5-kilometer race. They've got a couple of little small climbs. Well, they got one small one and then a decent size before it's basically downhill the rest of the race. It's from about 9 kilometers in, they're going to be hauling. So things will pick up minus the part where they're going to hit that gauntlet of obstacles that you talked about.
Yep, absolutely.
There he is.
Good morning.
All right, and there's Sam Abair, again sitting in third. Again, we got Wall, multi-rig, and then
So he's what, about 2 minutes?
back to back.
2 minutes, 90 seconds behind. 2 minutes behind still.
Yeah. Oh, look at that jump right up to the third ring. That was awesome.
Nice,
Yep, so
big
he's
guy,
using that bent arm
long
technique.
limbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He made up a lot of time there.
Oh.
That was a good shot right there.
Good. Thank you. Good job. Good day.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like over here on the side, like looking up on Instagram here. Yeah, so I think one of the biggest differences with Mick and Brendan, at least as far as recognizing them goes, is I believe Mick's rocking a mustache right now. So that's
Yes,
one to
he
keep
was.
an eye out for.
You got
Yeah,
it. He's got
yeah,
one.
so-
So he's your leader right now.
Yep.
Boom, and here's that downhill we were talking about before the next little climb. And again, you can't see anybody in front of you, but the faster you can go and send it down down the downhills, you could be making up valuable time because you don't know how people are with some of these.
Yeah, you'll see some great runners. They'll have an open stride and they'll fly down. We're talking sub 5 minute pace down these hills, and you'll see some less experienced trail runners kind of do more of that braking, that backpedaling, so that way they can actually slow down their momentum so they don't fall over, right? So it's having that trail acumen, and Samuel Hebert is one of the best in our sport with trail running, just given his experience level. I mean, so is Mick and Brandon too. That's why they're in the lead here, like they are. So you'll definitely notice as we get deeper into the race, deeper into the field, you'll notice some athletes slowing down there.
Yeah, he was doing those steps, like you said, like little back pedal steps, trying to take it smooth. But it looked like it was kind of wet down at the bottom there. So definitely trying to be cautious. I'm sure it's not worth taking a spill just over halfway through the race, So that makes sense.
Right. Yep. Man, I've had this race on my list for a while, and definitely want to get out here for sure. Given for me here, I'm living in Connecticut. It's probably like an 8-hour drive or so. It's nothing like too it's drivable here. Nothing too crazy for a weekend trip, but the mountain just looks awesome. So it's definitely one I have on my list for sure. And here we have an update on the women. So they're at Stairway to Sparta. Again, we missed the camera at that point. But Joe, you want to take us through the women?
Yes. So after Stairway to Sparta, still leading the way is Beatrice Moyen-Sylvestre. Only a minute, just 58 seconds behind her is Lisa Musacchio.
Nice job.
Margaret is still having a time issue, but we know that unofficially she's sitting in third place. Susan Snitynsky is about 7.5 minutes behind Beatrice. So let's see. And we're not quite sure about where she would be from Margaret because of the timing chip issue, but we know she's at least 6.5 minutes off of second place. And then in fifth there, Naomi Bouchard, 10 minutes off of first. About 3.5 minutes off of the top three spots. So again, we're having a timing issue with Margaret, so we can just kind of guesstimate between Lisa and what we see from Susan until we get them on our screens, and then maybe we can get a better idea.
Yeah, and last time we saw Susan and Margaret, they were together neck and neck, right? We had Margaret seemingly kind of outrunning Susan a bit, but we had Susan seems to be stronger on the obstacles. So if Susan can stay in Margaret, in contact with Margaret, maybe when it comes to the gauntlet there, we might see a great race.
And I don't know where this view is on our course. Oh, okay, so this is okay. Yeah, sorry. We're getting reports. This is the top of the course before Stairway. So we are bouncing around a little bit. We've got rabbits going, catching where our athletes should be coming through. Bam, boom. There's another example of that.
Oh wow!
Right there.
Look at this. You have Beatrice and Lisa getting to Bender pretty much together. So we had Lisa about a minute behind Beatrice at Stairway. You'll see Lisa got a little hung up on that obstacle there.
Good job.
So probably about 5 seconds there. But if Lisa's downhilling the way she is, I could definitely see Lisa overtaking Beatrice before we see them again. So we'll be curious to see how far Margaret and or Susan is behind those two. Yeah. But speaking of which, actually, this might be Margaret right here, actually, on Twister. So we know she had a little bit of troubles with obstacles. And also, once again, look at that view. If you were to be behind Twister, my goodness.
Beautiful.
But she's going through, with a backwards technique. Love it. Nice. Got the bell. Moving right along here. And it'll be a big question mark. It'll be a big question mark to see where Susan is in relevance to Margaret there. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe Margaret was hitting the bell on Twister at about 59:40 pro time. So if we get eyes on Susan, we'll have a
Then we
better
can-
idea as to where they are comparatively.
Little bit of math, but we'll make it happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you'll see here, again, look at this mushy, technical, roots, mud, pretty much everything you could ask for in a trail race on this section here. So definitely not easy to not only run this, but then also manage that gimbal as the rabbit kind of gives us a flip shot. But yeah, again, definitely a real beautiful course here we got for you.
Yeah, tough terrain here. Definitely got to be careful of the footing, a little more slower go.
Yep, for sure.
We got more athletes reaching the bender.
And yeah, I mean, this very well could be, like I said, 7-8 right here, so something like that. So
Good job.
another, we got to really push
That's
each other.
the gentleman that you mentioned earlier. He normally runs with the young lady before. It looks like they separated somewhere along the way. But he was all smiles getting over the bender and continuing on. While you're watching, be sure to hit that subscribe button. The OCR Report on YouTube is the only place that you can watch these race live streams all year long. Be sure to subscribe now.
Absolutely. Again, you're going to get really fast updates with the top 10 elite in just about any race, as well as age group podiums. So, and the OCR Report also does an awesome job of tagging people. If I'm ever lucky enough to get a top 10 or an age group podium, I'm usually getting a tag in my inbox, which is definitely makes me feel pretty good.
Yeah, you catch all that too, usually within 24 hours or even sooner of a race. So that can be found on Instagram. Be sure to follow at the OCR Report. Again, follow at the OCR Report on Instagram. You get all those live results or relatively quickly. That's number one, flying.
Yep.
Number two,
Here comes
right
number two.
behind. So Mick and Brendan. This should be,
Nice job.
unless they swap spots. No, that's Mick.
Yep, we got the
So
mustache.
Mick with the mustache in second now. So it looks like he was passed there.
Yeah, for sure.
See if number three, how far we got. All right, so I guess the rabbit's gonna head down, see maybe if he can catch 1 and 2. Doesn't see 3. Just yet, but as you mentioned, this race is, I mean, it's probably only 2/3 done, even though they're more than 2/3 of the distance through the race. Between the running becomes walking, depending on how these obstacles go. Look at that view.
Right. Walking becomes crawling.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, so here actually we have looks like a plate drag obstacle. So these athletes are having to drag a plate. So like almost like a sled with sandbags on it here, up to where they're standing, back down. So that we're getting reports that this. So now we believe that's Mick in second place right there, and we really appreciate the hand gestures from this rabbit for sure to give us assistance when it comes to calling this race for you here tonight. Yep, as mentioned here, this appears to be Samuel Abear. Looks like he's relaxed and having fun, which is great to see. And here we actually have some updated splits for you. So this is through the sandbag carry. Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. We got him cramping up here, it looks like. Maybe it could have been an ankle roll there because it was really sudden. That tends to be the case there, but it seems to be rubbing that calf. So definitely not a good sign. But he's going to get back up and keep going here. But Joe, you want to read off these splits here while we have them on our screen?
Yeah. So the men, top 5 men at the sandbag, Mick Girillo once again leading the way. So I guess maybe he got past. So he was Brendan Neely was only 33 seconds at the sandbag. Samuel Hebert is a minute and a half off of Mick. And then there's some much bigger separation, 4 and 5, as you mentioned. Matthew and Victor kind of going back and forth, fighting for 4 and 5, only 3 seconds separating them, like I was talking about earlier. Probably smart at this point. I don't think they expect to make up 3 minutes to touch the top 3, but if they can race properly, they can fight for 4 and 5 between the two of you.
Yeah, well, no, this is at the sandbag carry, which we didn't have a camera access to there, which is overall obstacle 18 on the course. And the plate drag, which we just watched Samuel complete, is number 24. We were seeing Samuel come through that obstacle at about 48 minutes. Here he's at 106. So about 20 minutes difference from that split to what we're watching right now, watching Samuel downhill. And again, a great shot of this happening here. And it's really good to see him as well running the way he is, given that he seemed to have a calf issue pop up on him right before the plate drag.
Yeah, and there's still lots to go. Of course, the spear throw coming up, obstacle 26. If they can get through that flawlessly, nothing really that they have to worry about as far as failing or penalty loops after that. It's pretty much clear cruising.
And here comes Margaret and Susan neck and neck here. So this is 3 and 4 on the ladies' side. So really, really important points, really important podium positions. Especially when we're talking about, like I said, I mean, 3rd place in the series gets $1,000. So 4th place, I don't think it's anything. So it's really $1,000 swing, and it could come down to a couple seconds. So really big stakes.
And now at least we know they're close because we're having that timing chip issue with Margaret, so we can at least gauge a little bit better now.
Yep. Now we'll see how the strength is on some of these athletes coming through. So again, we got a couple of men coming through. Some of these men might be somewhere in that. Again, still collecting some points here. Might be in that 15 to 20th place range, but they're about 20 minutes off of the lead at this point in the race. So just to give you some perspective on what maybe some of our top athletes like Mick and Brendan are doing comparatively to the field. But okay, let's see if we can maybe map this out, Joe. Here, so we've got Margaret there. Let's see, she's dumping at 1:08.14.
I'll go with the.
And then I'm curious to see if we stay on Susan here. If we can, considering we got a timing chip issue, we got to kind of DIY the splits here. All right,
keep a note as we go on here.
28. So we got 14 seconds between Margaret and Susan based off of that sandbag dump.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens as they continue on.
Yeah, you'll notice. Now, like I said, I actually am not privileged to know anything about Susan. Oh, actually, before I make that point, we'll talk about the spear throw here and a nice stick out of that looks like Brendan there sticking that spear
question
throw.
For you, with your experience. Now, I saw a lot of the Spartan races have the new spear setup. This race does not. Is there a reason for that? Do you know if there's a difference, or does that happen with these championship races? Or
no, I haven't seen any race since 2023 without that circle that other people who may have run a U.S. race have seen before. So maybe it was a issue with the obstacles, or Okay, so here comes Mick. I didn't get a full split on Mick there, but I want to say it's probably about 35 seconds or so. And of course, we know Brendan just hit his, so this is a very important throw for Mick. Let's see what he does here. And bang. Yep, good toss.
Yeah.
Again, the
solid.
difficulty level is a little easier on without having to worry about the circle there.
The circle. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that makes a big difference because with that giant rectangle, I mean, these guys
Oh, and
are
actually,
obviously
this is
practicing.
yeah, this is huge here too. You actually even see Mick and Brendan, I think, waving to each other. So Brendan actually is going to get a kind of a view on Mick on where he is by just being in the right place, right time. Oh, and all right. Well, that was unexpected. The fact that he just finished the race there.
Yeah, so
quick.
I guess they ran a lot faster. I mean, well, and they're again, like you mentioned earlier, they are obviously showing their skill level is there's a big gap between 3 and not even 3, maybe 3. Yeah, but the top 3 seem to be like that higher tier, and then it just drops off just a little bit, and then the climb probably having a lot to do with all that climbing. But you can hear the music.
I
and
missed
you
that.
missed it.
Yep. So now the big question is Victor? How is that penalty loop? First of all, and is Victor? Yeah. Where is Victor in comparison?
That was
or
third
Matt?
place. So yeah, Sam just was third, heading up the hill for the penalty. That's
And here's
second
Mick
place.
finishing the race.
Right.
So
we got Brendan in first. Mick has now come through second. Third is Sam, your boy Sam. He's headed up the hill. He's already back down now. Okay, so it wasn't terribly long.
yeah, he finished his loop well before either Victor or Matt has made it to the spear throw. So, like you mentioned earlier, Joe, after that point, no more failable obstacles. He should be in the clear for getting this third place here. So, but yeah, no, I mean, I've raced Sam many times before. He's often many minutes ahead of me. So I definitely really shout out to Mick and Brendan for kind of giving him that work. To be honest, 2 minutes ahead of Sam is no easy feat given his experience and his level, how many podiums he has in his career.
Do you know where he's from, or any of the top 3 where they train at or live?
Yeah, so I believe Mick Girillo is in Western Canada, like Alberta, Calgary type of area.
Oh, okay.
Brendan, I'm not sure. I feel like Brendan might be stateside. Not sure there.
I think he is also. 'Cause I've raced with him a few times in the past.
Yeah, or he travels a lot, one or the other. And then I'm almost certain Samuel is from Canada, is from Quebec here, so he's in his hometown. You'll see he's got a lot of hometown support. Kind of louder cheers for Samuel when he's coming through the spectator areas versus the others. But that's what you get for being a hometown advantage, for sure.
Yeah, and in our defense, both these gentlemen are rocking the mustache, regardless of what their IG is telling us. They both.
Oh yeah,
that's a tough
Awesome.
twins today.
yeah, right. Yep. So here's
There's
the
your
top
1,
3
2,
finish.
3.
Yep. So you got Brandon in the middle, Mick on the left, and Samuel on the right.
I'm gonna head back up for the ladies.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for cheering me.
Hey,
And as you heard from the rabbit, he's going back up. He's going to try to catch top 3 ladies.
If you stick around that long.
Coming down,
Good job,
yeah.
guys. See you.
And after we go over everything, we're going to catch some interviews with our podium finishers.
Great job. I'm gonna head back up and catch the ladies.
So he's going back out. So they finished a lot quicker than we were thinking. We were thinking probably, or you said, what, an hour 15, hour 20. So, I mean, you were 4 or 5 minutes. You were pretty, I was thinking more than 90 minutes based on what I was looking at.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was thinking more like the hour 20 range, because typically you'll see a flat super kind of be finished in about 55 minutes. You'll see, a real hilly super be more like hour 10, hour 20, and then one like a Palmerton be more in the hour 30 range. So definitely shows its difficulty for sure. And here we got the women's splits. If you want to read those off, Joe.
All right, so Lisa has overtaken the lead. Lisa Musacchio is now currently 10 seconds ahead of Beatrice Moyen-Sylvestre. Margaret, as we know, is pretty tight with Susan, right? They were only about 14 seconds between the two of them. So they 3 and 4 are sitting almost 8 minutes or so behind 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 is a foregone conclusion. We just don't know who those two will be, whether Lisa will fall to Beatrice here at the end. But we know that the three after them, 3, 4, and 5, are all, well, excuse me, 3 and 4. Margaret and Susan are fighting for that last podium spot. And then Nomi Bouchard is about 5 minutes behind those two.
Yep, and here we have Victor going up the A-frame there pretty quickly there. And he seems to have put a big gap on Matt McLean, who was right with him in 5th. But yeah, you'll notice him doing that flip over the net. Joe, you ever get the flip down over that A-frame cargo?
I do. Speaking of the Palm Beach Sprint, I sent myself flying over it. I ran Elite on Sunday when it was down here in April, and me and another guy were pretty tired, so I had to send it. You got to send it. It took me a year or two to get the courage to figure it out, because you also don't want to hit that middle bar about halfway down. So you have to do it kind of strategically.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely takes some guts for sure. Yeah, so we have then that looks like Matt McLean in 5th there. Probably too much of a gap, unless maybe if he runs real hard and gets through these obstacles fast and Victor misses his spear, maybe you see a shake up there. But there's Victor already putting down the Hercules hoist. No problems with that obstacle generally in the elite field, especially when it's dry. Here's the even scarier cargo to flip over, being the vertical cargo, right? You really got a full commit. Thankfully, there's mats on each side, but here he goes. Nice front flip.
I prefer
rebound.
This one for flipping. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so tight. As long as you are, you got to go with no fear. Once again, it's all kind of like a fear thing, but holding on tight, there's no slack, so it's less opportunity for anything to happen.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, we actually we just saw Victor grabbing his spear. Unfortunately, we seem to lost that cam there, but generally probably a foregone conclusion that Victor's going to get 4th there and Matt will be 5th. But we'll have to wait and see once we get back on that side. I think we're still looking for the women again. So the sandbag there was that we were talking about that. We were hour 14 into the race. But those splits are coming for Lisa and Beatrice at about an hour. So we're about 15 minutes off of real time on those splits. So we shouldn't be too long before we're getting shots of the women coming through that festival area, maybe about 10 minutes away from seeing Lisa and Beatrice battling it out.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome to see. I mean, there was only 10 seconds between them, so it should be pretty tight through the finish.
Yeah, looking forward to that for sure. But
here we go. We got somebody coming.
This might be – oh, no, there's a gentleman here. But seems to be running pretty hard. Yeah,
all right, so we got, at the bucket, we got Lisa Musacchio still leading. Now Beatrice has fallen a minute and a half, just over a minute and a half behind, running into a few timing issues. Margaret, we don't have her time, and we don't see 4 and 5. We know who they are, but we don't Susan and Nomi. Yeah, so Susan is behind Margaret, and then, of course, Nomi was 5th when we last took a look at those. So I'm sure we'll get an updated leaderboard as it gets closer. Like you said, when they get closer to the festival area there.
Yep, for sure. And we also, I'm pretty sure Beatrice, actually, I was able to run with her at a couple of Jersey races like I mentioned before, and last fall, I was doing the Beast, and I believe it was her first OCR. She ended up winning that Beast race there just based on her trail running acumen. But when it comes to her and Lisa, I believe Lisa's going to have more of that experience on the obstacles. So that might be playing to Lisa's favor here coming through the stretch.
Certainly seems so. A minute and a half. They were 10 seconds apart. Now there's a much larger gap. That is not it's pretty hard to overcome with such little distance left in the race. And not many obstacles to fail, like we were saying. The back end is pretty clear. So if you're a good runner, you're taking it downhill, and you can climb nets, so you'll be all right.
All right. I mean, we still have that spear throw though, which is no matter who you are, it's been finicky, right? We've seen it cause a lot of drama in races before, especially when it's in the festival area. So I kind of like it that way. I'd rather see it at 100 meters to go than at mile two. Not really matter that much.
Love it. Me too. It's the only elite podium I've ever had, and it's only because of that. So it's nice.
Hey,
it's good to have right
Joe,
at the end of a race.
I wouldn't say that, Joe. You had to work up until that moment to be close enough to snag that podium away from somebody. Because it's funny you mentioned it, Joe. I did the same exact thing at the Jersey Beast as well. It took me up till mile 13 or so to finally get into third place, and it did come down to that spear. I was able to nail it when my opponent missed it. So it plays a factor for sure.
What a rush of energy too. You're like dying, and then all of a sudden you're like a new person.
Your power meter just like you get
through
refilled.
More than the beginning of the race. If I hit the spear and I know that I took a spot that I need, like it's like fire shooting out of me.
Absolutely.
And then,
again, we really
like you said,
appreciate
being
these
in the
rabbits.
festival area. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, no, yeah. I definitely don't want to cut you off there, but again, appreciate these rabbits going back up. So not only did they run with all these elite athletes going down to the festival area, then they're going back up to get after the women, and you see him definitely breathing heavy. If you got your volume up pretty high, your headphones in, he's working. Yep.
And he's not forgetting to let us know exactly what's going on. First place coming our way.
Yep. And I do appear to see a blue top, which was Lisa. So, and she's looking strong coming through the end here.
And I don't see anybody in the distance, so he's probably going to stick with her. So we
try to, for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is not going slow. That's doesn't take a scientist to figure that one out. But you can see in her face too. She's working hard, and again, really appreciate this shot that we're getting here of Lisa. You can just definitely see what kind of output she's giving at the end now that she's got a good gap.
Yeah, nice little downhill jaunt before she gets to the festival area. Moving too. She is moving.
I gotta say, I know we talked about the weather at the very beginning, and now we're talking about 60-degree weather. I'm surprised she went with the leg mitts on this race for sure. Wanted to make sure her hands stayed warm for the obstacles, but I could imagine that with those leg mitts on, her wrists are probably cooking.
Yeah, I mean, but in the early, 60, but like you said, it's 99% humidity, so it's a much more wet cold. So and coming from Florida, me 60, I'm freezing. I need leg mitts if I'm out there for sure. I bought them because of that. Just being anything below 73 degrees Fahrenheit is freezing as far as I'm concerned.
You should have seen us at Bethel in New York last weekend. It was raining in the 50s, and most people were shirtless.
This is why
That's the way we are.
That's why I like being right here watching these great races with the rest of the people at home. Speaking of which, while you're watching, be sure to hit that subscribe button for the OCR report here on YouTube. It's the only place you'll be able to watch the live streams all year long. Subscribe now. Also, thank you to our OCR report members for making this live stream possible. You can scan that QR code for less than $5 a month. You can help us with the live streams just like this every single week. Go to patreon.com/the OCR report.
Sweet, thank you.
Boom, nice. Got a racer out there giving a little love to us, to the rabbit, letting them know what's happening. Number 2 on their way.
Beautiful.
So this will be our camera. We're going to catch number 2. We'll stick with it. We know that, now several minutes behind Lisa.
Maybe there's a failure, right? Because I don't recall that gentleman there in the neon shirt there, kind of anywhere near our ladies at any point. So maybe we had a failure, or or he passed her at some point during the back section of the race as well. So I'm curious to see how she's looking, if she's hurting on the run, or if maybe, like I said, we had some obstacle failure that we didn't get to see. So let's see how she's looking here. Yeah, I mean, definitely speedy for sure. So maybe, again, some obstacle failure, but it's only speculation at this point. Again, a really strong trail runner, Beatrice, but maybe not as much obstacle experience. So definitely she keeps at this. If she's already getting second here in a series race, she'll definitely be right up there in no time.
Yeah, and she's cooking right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure. No doubt.
We're going to follow her. Hopefully, we're going to see how things are rolling. That's the festival area. We can see down there in the distance. Start to hear some of that music.
It's always a good feeling when you're really pushing, 85 minutes into a race here, and you're getting that music for sure. So it's a real good feeling.
Yeah, here we go. She's coming in. She's going to go right to the. We go right to the A-frame first before the. Oh, I got it right here. Let me get back to it. Yeah. So the A-frame right before the spear, then the hoist, cargo, rope climb, wall, inverted wall, and fire jump. So.
Yep, quite the gauntlet we got. Yeah, like you mentioned. Yeah, here's the A-frame cargo. It's a more tilted one where she's going to flip over here. And then crawl down the other side. Oh, double flip.
Yeah, double flip's money. You just gotta watch out, like I said. Gotta get past that middle bar and then give it a go.
And yep, so she's going to use looks like a J-hook technique here on the rope climb. Very nicely done. She's going to roll right into the Hercules hoist, which again, the Hercules hoist, for those of you who may not know what it is you have to pull on the rope that she's about to grab right here. She can put her feet on the fence, and she's going to lean into it here and get that bag all the way up to the top. And she has to let it down gently. If the volunteer sees her let it down not gently, not in control, she's going to have to do a penalty loop here. So they'll be letting that down nice and easy.
Yeah. So the goal would be, like she did, hand over hand, release. Try not to get it tied around your leg while you're pulling it up.
Yep.
Vertical cargo, and then, vertical cargo, then she's at the spear.
Yep.
And even with the gap between them, it wouldn't matter. Even if the second place, there's just the run is the penalty here is so short that it doesn't matter if who was before her missed or not, because they've already gone through the penalty and through the finish, I would assume.
Yep. Oh. Yep. And I miss out of Beatrice, but like we're projecting here, between third and fourth place, we're not going to have much of an issue. But looks like after now here, we're going to go back and try to find Margaret and Susan and see if we can hopefully catch a tight race. That's what I want to see, Joe. We haven't really gotten any tight races between that top five up to this point.
A lot of space.
Minus Brendan and Nick, of course. Brendan and Nick, rather, excuse me. But with no misses there on either of those gentlemen, we had Brendan had no problem finishing it off.
All right, So taking a look here, we've got some updated times. Lisa finishing, through the bucket at 117. Sorry. Yep, excuse me, at the bucket at 117. Beatrice was a minute and a half behind her, which we knew. Now we've got Susan. So Margaret, again with the timing chip issue, Susan, and they're still together through the bucket, so we should see them coming down, as you mentioned, to get a little bit of a tight race into that festival area.
Yeah, that's what I'm most excited about here. Again, this is for third and fourth, so again, big points on the line, right? Because if you're Susan and you're behind Margaret right now, if you stay in fourth place, for example, you got to go into that next race and you got to beat her by at least 2 spots to tie it up. So it's really critical, this third fourth battle. It's also cool to make the podium, right? Like, I mean, this is not an age group race, so if you make fourth place, you got to go home, right? You don't get that podium love, that plaque that everyone wants to have, right? Joe, you got one. I got one on my mantle. You know, I love seeing it before I go to bed. You know, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, no, it is. That's what a lot of the elites chase, and even the age group. You hope to, get one of those one day. Like I said, I lucked out with mine. I mean, sure, I put in the work, but I felt horrible. The guy, clearly better runner, and sometimes but that is obstacle course racing. It's not just running. It is the spirit, it is the obstacles, it is the penalties, it was the burpees, or whatever it is today. So.
Yep, absolutely. So again, definitely shout out to this rabbit here who's going to once again make his way up the hill that our athletes are bombing down to then catch more athletes coming his or her way. So really thank you for that for sure. Here comes another male athlete. Finish up his race again, probably somewhere in that 10th place range. So kudos to him for finishing as high as he did.
Yeah, and for the latest in obstacle course racing news, race results, live race coverage, be sure to follow the OCR report on Instagram. If you're looking for the full results from today's race, follow at the OCR report on Instagram today.
And again, right, like Joe, if you're more into the DECA, that's more your scene. I know we're covering a lot of DECA events here. We're right in the thick of things. They just had the Austin race. They got the Carolinas. I know there's going to be a Northeast race that I'm hoping to get out to over in Philly. So a lot of races in the DECA scene. If that's your jam.
Yeah, they're in Philly. There's only a few left for the year for the actual DECA Fit. There may be a road show or two, but like you said, Philly. There's Ocala in September down here in Florida, so I might be able to swing that one a few hours away. But OCR reporting on all things OCR, not just in the Spartan world, but all obstacle course races, results, all that. So at the OCR report, again, on Instagram is where you can find that stuff.
You might even find a race that if you follow them, you might even see a race that you didn't even know was in your area. And then you see results and you click on that race, you'll tag the race in it, and you'll be like, oh, I'm going to add it to my calendar for next year. So, maybe like this one, right? Maybe this is inspiring a little bit to get out here to Quebec if you weren't here at this race and you got a little FOMO. So definitely add it over to your calendar for sure. Like I said, I'm definitely
100%.
looking forward to making it out.
That's how I learned about the Native X race that we do down here in South Florida. I saw the results one year. I was like, oh, I didn't know there was one of these. Boom. And then I'm at it. So it's because of them and they're giving love to not just the top 3, top 10, both male and female. It's nice that, to get that recognition as an athlete or somebody who's putting in that effort. So really cool what they're doing there.
Yep.
Here comes number 3.
Here comes. Yep, it looks like we got Margaret still. Again, hoping we'll see Susan in the shot soon as well. Because, like I said, I'm all for the tie races. That's what I want to watch for sure. But looks like Margaret's doing a nice job of putting some separation between her and Susan. We were mentioning that maybe Margaret's a little bit of a stronger runner from what we're seeing than Susan, but maybe Susan's a little more obstacle proficient. So we're gonna see which skill set wins out coming through this gauntlet.
Yeah, if the gap isn't too great already, because the spear again, Margaret is a good runner, as you mentioned. So even if she misses the spear, she'll be able to quickly get through that. It seems like, I'm trying to glance down that back road. When she was coming down that hill, I still couldn't see anybody coming around that corner. So she's probably got 20, 30 seconds minimum already.
Right. Yeah. So we should get a better shot once she starts completing some of the obstacles within the festival area here. So we'll hope for that there. But I mean, regardless, right? Like I said, Margaret putting on a great performance here. Trying to see here. Yeah, we don't have any information on her stats if she's has podiums in the past, because I remember, I'm sure Joe, you remember we talked about it a little bit today already, but getting that first podium coming through that festival area felt so sweet. So who knows what number podium this might be for Margaret, but if it's one of the first ones, I'm sure she's really starting to soak it in.
For sure. Light that fire, keep it going. She's got 2 more races in the series. Doesn't hurt to start with that. Number 3, being the runner that you said she is, I'm sure she'll shine in the Beast. So, and of course, we'll see how things shake out next month with the sprint.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, here she goes up and over.
Here she's going. She's going with the flip. Let's see if she goes for the double. Yeah, the double flip is a new thing. The first flip is one thing. The second is where.
Yeah, no, you're right.
People are a little more nervous.
Again, as the rabbit gave us here, we did see Susan in the backdrop as Margaret was completing the A-frame. So we have Susan going up the A-frame right now. Margaret heading up that rope, and she's using a pinch technique there, so maybe a little slower than that J-hook. So this is going to be a good one. Let's see what happens.
So Susan's now getting to the A-frame right now. That was a gentleman who just flipped over the top of it, and then she was touching the base of the other side coming over.
Gotcha. So a little larger gap than I had initially thought. Okay. Yeah.
Nothing too crazy though, because now the spear run penalty is long enough that she could lose this race. She could lose the podium spot. 4 and 5, as the rabbit's telling us. Okay, so 4 and 5 on the A-frame, 3 right here, putting the back down. It's going to come down to the spear.
Yep, absolutely. It's like we just got the tension building up here. That's all we can do is
Very
wait.
exciting. Now I'm at the edge of my seat.
Yep. Here goes Susan on that A-frame, on that Hercules hoist.
So where it's 5 must be coming down.
Oh, that technique out of that guy, jumping up with both feet, getting a quick pulls.
Using his body weight. Yep.
All right, so all right. Let's see what happens with Susan with Margaret. Margaret's going in the penalty loop. Margaret is going in the penalty loop. So this is a huge throw for Susan. I don't know. It's also funny too because you don't know if Susan saw that or not. So you really no idea what's going through her head. But she's trying to walk it up here. Really try to relax. And the spear's already pulled in for him. But I feel like she got to rip it though. She has to rip it here. Let's see what happens.
Catch your breath and just give it a go. I mean, it's all or nothing, right?
Yep. And
it's
in.
And she's stuck
It's in.
Oh!
And here comes Margaret coming down here. All right, let's see what happens here. So we got Susan with a decent lead. Margaret's gonna have to push it into overdrive to catch her at this point.
I wonder if she knows if she's been passed, or she just saw her. Maybe because it looked like she put a little pep in her step. Look
at her go. She's pushing. Yep. We got about a 50-ish meter gap here between Margaret and Susan. Now with Susan now in third after that big spear, just like me and you, Joe. Susan making that big pass on the spear. But this is why we do these races. Yep.
This is why you have to race.
Yep.
Let's hopefully our rabbit will. Right. So we're our rabbit's hanging tight until they come back through. They're going through the slip wall. Here we go. We can see now.
We got Susan there.
Susan. Yep, Susan. Margaret must be right behind her by now. She was moving well. There she is. Yeah,
She's
so
still
about the same gap.
Yeah, but the fire jump and finish is right after this here, so I have to imagine that it's all over. But
Yeah.
I mean, an awesome race here between these two women. And I'm sure they were battling back and forth for a lot of action that we didn't even see. So, definitely disappointing.
I mean, either way,
Margaret,
amazing time for
yeah,
the distance.
Susan gave it everything. Yeah, Susan is sent out for that.
And like you said, it's a miss of a podium spot, but it's only 2 points in the series of the first race. So not a big deal to be passed at that point. Obviously, if you care about the podium spot, but I mean, when it comes to the series and the ultimate goal, the $5,000 first place at the end, still plenty of work to be done. Plenty of 2 points is nothing,
And you got you got some great camaraderie here too. All the top 4 ladies just kind of chatting amongst themselves, giving congratulations. So, definitely love to see that. Definitely unique about our sport for sure.
Yeah, always everybody embracing one another.
Cool. All right, now that the top 4 women are through and the top probably 10 to 12 men are through, we're hopefully going to get some interviews to here. Again, courtesy of that OCR report. So looking forward to hearing what some of these athletes have to say firsthand about what they experienced out on this course today.
Way to go, dude. Way to go.
I lost her in the woods. Yeah. I tripped.
Yeah, while they're going over, like you said just a moment ago, this sport this is what it's all about. No matter how much competition there is out on the course, it's all smiles, hugs, high fives, and all that jazz once you cross that finish line. A lot of love out on the just all Spartan races.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. I'll be able to adjust if there was like a moment.
It's like maybe I get
Yeah, I'll be able to handle that.
Cool. They're gonna get these interviews here in just a moment. Here's your 1, 2, 3.
That's all right. Go ahead.
All right.
Cool. That's going to do it for our camera coverage here of the race.
Yeah, so we're going to come back for the interviews in just a moment. We're working on getting over to number 1. I believe we're going to start with the men. They were hanging out just a bit, waiting. So I'm just being told reports that the men did take off. They're probably cooling down, knowing those guys, they run a couple extra miles after they run a super. So we're going to get with the ladies to get 1, 2, 3 or a few interviews here in just a moment. Once again, this is race number 1 of 3 of the Canada National Series. It was fun. It was a good race. A couple people, outliers shine 1 and 2 on both sides. We saw a nice race between 3 and 4 for the ladies. Spear being the ultimate decider, which we talked about early in the race, ended up being a factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nails on the head there. And has great performances. And I'm really excited about what the rest of this Canadian series is going to have to offer.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go over to the interviews.
Talking about the race some?
Yeah. For you.
What's your name?
I'm Lisa Musacchio.
Oh, awesome. Yes, I know.
Hi, yeah.
Great job today.
Thank you so much.
You were in lead for pretty much the whole race, huh?
Actually, I was not.
No?
Beatrice killed the uphills, yeah. Took me a while to warm up, actually. So.
Where were you at the monkey bars?
That
was right up the first hill.
Behind her. So I could see her for a good bit of it, but then some of the uphills, she kind of went ahead. And then on the downhills is where I sort of was able to catch up. A lot of times on the downhills, I can kind of catch up. I love the like in trail running where it gets like really technical. That's something I like.
Is that where you passed?
Yeah,
in the
I
woods?
actually passed her right, caught up in the woods and right by the sandbag carry.
Oh.
And then from there, I sort of took it from there.
Wow.
So yeah, she did a great job climbing.
Yeah, that last downhill was pretty sweet, nice and mellow, but real fast.
Yeah.
So you just killed it?
It was good, yeah. I've worked really hard on that, actually, to try to, like, open up and just be brave enough to let it go. So it worked out. So it was good.
Did you see her on the bucket carry? Yeah.
Sandbag carry, yes. On the bucket carry.
After the woods.
I was coming down, and she was kind of working her way up.
So is that close?
Yeah, so it was close. Yeah.
Awesome. Well
It's
done.
my spear. It's the one I still have to work on.
Yeah, but you had plenty of time.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So that was... Sometimes I think about that too, running down, like, give yourself a buffer for the spear.
Did you race the U.S. Series?
Yeah, I did. I went to Big Bear.
Big Bear, right.
And I'm going to be in Utah.
Awesome.
But I really wanted to, I love the mountains, so I kind of wanted to start checking off some other mountains off the list that I haven't been to. So
what about the rest of the Canadian Series?
I'm not sure. I'm also planning to go to Austria and Greece. So we're just kind of a year of travel. So it might not align. It tends to get expensive. I'm a teacher too, so I have to take off. And
they don't give you teachers enough days off.
No.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of training over the summer too, and so it is what it is.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You did awesome.
I'm glad to be here. It was beautiful. Everyone is so nice and welcoming, and the course was great. It was so much fun. Yeah.
Anything else you want to share, or anybody want to shout out?
No, I have my husband Lewis with me. He's always cheering me on and making sure I have everything I need. And then my two aunts, they always join on these travels, so they're here.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's been great.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Of course. It was good seeing you.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
How do you like it compared with Pluma? Man, where's the grass trail?
Hi, would you mind sharing your experience? No.
You don't mind my bad English?
Not at all. Not at all. As long as you can withstand listening to me.
You have to click
You can just hold it or, yeah, that's good.
Just like this?
What's your name?
My name is Beatrice.
Beatrice. And last name?
Beatrice Moyen-Sylvestre.
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 Moyen,
Yeah,
almost
it's
got it.
French-Canadian.
Yeah. Where are you from?
I'm from around Montreal.
Okay.
Yes. Saint-Pete-de-Gotte is the real name of the city, but you don't know that. It's somewhere in the...
Outside the big city?
Yeah, really outside.
Okay. Well, how was your race today?
Oh, it was wonderful. We had a great race with great runners. It was super flowy because it was, I would say, less technical, more a race.
Yeah.
Like we had to run as fast as we can today, which was great. I love it. And then there was a Musacchio Lisa was here today, so she pushed me. I felt her all the race going up just behind me. And then at the 5th kilometer, when I got the rock in my shoes, that's where she pushed it, and I broke inside. So she got me there, and yeah, I'm really happy to have this. This race today was awesome.
Did you have to stop and take it out?
No, I couldn't. It was so.
You just dealt with it?
It was so. My shoes were really, really tight because I didn't want to lose it in the mud. I already did it once in a race. That was really bad. I lost like for 2 minutes digging in the mud, so I didn't want to do it again. So no, it was too tight my shoes to get it out. So I just had to push to the paint. That was bad.
How far into the race? How much left did you have to go?
It was about half the race.
Half the
That's where
race.
she started to push, and that's where I broke a little.
So you were in the front up the first hill.
On the first hill, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was one big hill, so I think until the twister, and then after the twister, that's where I got my rock, and then that's where she did the push just at the right time. She couldn't do the push at the better time than that, and she did well.
How'd you feel about the technical down the through the woods?
It was awesome. There was no summoning rock, and as the weather is just wonderful today, it was pretty much dry, I would say, compared to some years.
Yeah.
So that was awesome for this. More secure, more fast running on it. So I love it.
Any obstacles give you any trouble?
The spiritual, always. Is this the only obstacle I have any trouble with? And I always have trouble with it.
Well, both you and Lisa were far enough ahead. Y'all didn't have to worry about doing the penalty.
No,
loop
when
there.
I got to the spiritual, at this time she was here. At this moment, yes. Yeah, she just.
Do you think you would have passed her if you would have got it?
No.
No.
Not
that
this
close.
time. What would have been better is if I sorry, my boyfriend is just here like doing nah. We run almost together because he's my race partner.
Oh, awesome.
And my training partner.
Nice.
This is awesome, so we can do the race almost together. He was there for the first 2 kilometers together. I really enjoyed it.
Very cool. Yeah, because y'all started together, right?
Yes.
They started the men's and women's at the same time. How'd you feel about that?
all the pros start together.
Did you like that?
I really like it.
You think they should all keep doing it?
They should for sure, because the first 2 women would be alone. Imagine Lisa alone for all the race, then
Right.
have the race alone. This is bad.
Yeah.
So just to have somebody to try to chase, I think it really is important for me to make a change, and I'm pretty sure everyone it plays in their head when they're trying to chase someone.
Yeah, for sure.
So just for this, I think it improved the level for the women. Plus,
Awesome.
I think it's less cost for Spartan to have less start line.
Yeah.
So for them, it's a good thing.
How about the series? You got second place, right?
Yes.
So you got a good chunk of points. Are you planning on doing any more races in the
The
series?
problem is that the World FISO is at the same time as one of the race.
Which one? Is it Red Deer?
The Kelowna.
Kelowna?
Kelowna is at the same time as Costa Rica World Championship.
Costa Rica, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm on the Team Canada.
Oh,
so
well,
this
that's
is-
awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is. It will be a really great challenge. But the problem is,
Do you think you'll do Red Deer?
we'll see. We'll see. Well, knowing that we need the 3 races,
You don't have
it's
to.
complicated.
You don't have to have all 3.
We don't?
Even if you do 2, your points still count. Even if you do 1, your points count.
Yeah.
But obviously, it
I
helps. as
see.
well.
Okay, I see the point of going to Red Deer then.
Yeah.
That's great. But it was an awesome race today, and I think we got a good level this year, especially with US coming to do the race with
Yeah.
us. We really like it.
Do you go down to the U.S. to race any?
Yes, I did New Jersey I think a month ago, something like this. Lisa was there.
Yeah.
She beat me on the 21K, but the day after she didn't do the 10K, so the place was clear. The
Oh.
first place was clear, so I took it.
Awesome.
But yeah, it was my first trifecta this year
Oh,
at
wow.
New Jersey, US. But today was the Canadian Series, so we had to keep calm and
Yeah.
keep our energy to be up for the challenge,
Yeah, absolutely.
which was there today.
Anything else you want to share? Anybody you want to shout out?
No, just thank you for organizing those races. We won the challenge, and we're here for that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
Great
you
job.
so much. Bye.
Yeah.
Sorry for my bad
No,
English.
no
I'm
worries.
always like
Appreciate
that.
it. Yeah, it really was. Oh, third place.
Yes.
Would you like to talk?
Do you want me to talk?
Absolutely. Y'all had, I saw you,
It was so hard. That was brutal.
I got to see you twice pass up to the girl in front of you.
You saw me pass out?
Pass her.
Oh!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here you go. Hold that one. All right, what's your name?
My name's Susan Snitynsky.
Susan Snitynsky?
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. So you were up the first hill.
Yeah.
You were in 4th place.
I was in 4th, I would say, for most of the race until the spear.
After at the monkey bars,
Yeah.
the girl that was in 3rd. Do you know her name?
Yeah, that's Margaret Lebovit. I don't know her last name, but yeah, Margaret. We raced
Margaret,
together a fair
okay.
amount.
Awesome. Yeah. So she failed the monkey bars,
Yeah.
and you passed her up there.
Yeah, we race together fairly often, and she's a really good road runner. She does Boston, so she always gets me on the uphills, and then I usually can get her on the downhills. But these downhills were so runnable, which I don't like, because they were perfectly like gravel paved, easy, gorgeous. So I think most people today are going to run those downs pretty quick. It came down to the spear today. So, Margaret said she's never beaten me yet. And I was like, today's the day she's going to take me. And the streak continues. So, poor girl, but I love her.
Well, I stayed with you from the monkey bars up to that next wall.
Okay,
and
yeah.
you were holding her off
Yeah.
up to then. So how long past that did it take before she passed you?
I think she caught me probably soon after that. Yeah. She just, she's a really good runner. She's very strong. I know she's preparing for the Quebec Mega Trail, which is like a 50-miler, I think.
Wow.
Not something I would ever do. So whenever you hear her behind you, you're just, she's going to catch you. So
It was a great battle. I mean, the motivation was really good because she was in my sight or I was in her sight the whole time.
Yeah. So some of those middle uphills and that long downhill at the end, you could see her that whole time.
Yeah, I was waiting. Everyone I race with knows like downs are my strong suit. So I knew if I can just really push the down and have a quick obstacle turnover, then maybe I could catch her. But yeah, I love the races when it comes down the spear. And actually that happened last year with me at the 10K where I managed to slip into first just because she missed the spear and just another sprint to the end. Yeah. Painful, but worth it.
How did it feel at that very end knowing that she was right behind you?
Oh my gosh, I hate it. It's exhausting. Yeah, I gave myself some grass burn because I had to collapse. But yeah, it was scary. So I just ran like a bat out of hell.
Any obstacles give you any trouble?
Oh, I hate Olympus. Will forever hate Olympus. But that's the only one that we could have Olympus not at the top of a climb. That would be great. Otherwise, everything was pretty good. Monkey bars were a little bit wet, but I had some gloves on, so it was okay. But everything else was nice and dry, like perfect weather, like the best race conditions we could have had.
So by the time you got to Twister, it was all dried up?
Everything was dry, yeah. Everything was good. I'm pretty soaking wet, but yeah, the obstacles were great. Like, this is not normal for Tremblant. Normally, there's a little bit of snow and, like, misery, so yeah, this is fantastic.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. It was like low 40s this morning.
I don't know American
Sun came up super early. Oh, yes.
Sorry. I think we're like plus 2.
I think the car said 4 degrees.
And then it was like 10. Yeah.
So it got really nice really fast.
Yeah, we can agree on that. Our metrics are different, but we can agree on it was a nice day.
So where are you from?
I'm from Ottawa.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you plan on doing any other races?
Yeah, I'm going to do the whole Canadian series.
Fantastic.
And then I do some DECA as well. So I'm going to do a mile next weekend. So hopefully that helps with the flat course at Red Deer. So
will you be at any DECA fits?
Yeah, actually, I do age group in the DECA Fit, so I'm currently second in my age group on the leaderboard. So I'll be heading to Worlds for the DECAs.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah,
I'll see you there.
Yeah, excellent.
We'll be there covering it.
Oh, nice. Well, hopefully I can. I lost my shoe last year in the race, so one of those things. But yeah, I'll be in Florida in December in Canada, which is nice.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Anything else you want to share, or anybody you want to shout out?
No, thank you. I know I'm serious on the course. I don't look at you guys or smile or talk, but I really appreciate you guys being out there and covering us. Great.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Vidal. That was awesome.
Yeah. See you there. Well, that was quite nice. Seems like everybody had a really good time out on the course. Everybody said great course, running, a lot of fast running. Right.
A lot of good insight on the athletes we had as well, between what Susan was able to say about Margaret and Lisa say about Beatrice and vice versa, and what kind of got coming up on their schedules. So we'll be looking forward to learning more about them as they continue to race the series.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I guess that's going to do it for us for the night. We're going to bring up the results first. We're working on bringing that up for you guys right there. There it is. So on the men's side, you want to go ahead and bring that off, Tyler?
Yeah, sure. So I'll read those off. So again, we have Brandon Neely in first place, Mikhail Jarillo in second, Samuel Hebert in third, Victor Fumeyer in fourth, Matthew McLean in fifth, Mark Budd in sixth, Carl Gerard in seventh, Connor Bell in eighth, Sebastian David in ninth, and Jean-Michel Boileo, sorry about that pronunciation, in 10th.
Good. And on the ladies' side, finishing in first place was Lisa Musacchio in first place. Beatrice Moyen-Sylvestre. Now, I've said Sylvestre the last 2 hours, but it's Sylvestre. She made it clear. It's just the spelling because of the way that they do it. Susan Snitynsky. And then we don't have Margaret on the leaderboard because of the timing chip issue, but she did finish in fourth before Nomi Bouchard. Then you have Nomi in fifth, so Carolyn Johnson would be sixth, Alexa Levine in seventh, and Joanna Saslow in eighth. So that'll round out your women's leaderboard for the first race of the National Series in Canada. Yep, that works. So, in any event, we're going to wrap things up for the night. A special thank you, of course, to the members of the OCR report for making this live stream possible. This live race has been a presentation of the OCR report. You can support live streams like this one for less than $5 a month, just like we said. And then for our producer, Jason Dupree, other team members, including our rabbits, which are Jason Alexander, Julie, sorry, we had a lot of rabbits out on the floor. Jason, Alexander, Julie, Lily, Lawrence, and Colton. That's right. So we had a handful. Although our cameras didn't represent that, we had a little bit of issue, as we said, with the cameras. Being out in the remote area, that's how it goes. But from all of our rabbits, from our producer, Jason Dupree, I'm Joe Roberto. This is Tyler Musacchio. And we want to thank y'all for watching. We will see you next time. We have 2 more races in the Canada Series. Red Deer's coming up next.